إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أدى الأمانة وبلغ الرسالة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه الله اليقين. ابتعث الله يخرج العباد من عبادة العباد لعبادة رب العباد، ومن ضيق الدنيا لساعة الدنيا والآخرة معا، ومن جور الأديان إلى عرض الإسلام. اللهم اجزه عنا خير ما جزيت نبيا عن أمته. We praise Him, Lord. We praise Him, thank Him, and we praise Him again from the bottom of our hearts, recognizing all the gratitude that He deserves, and knowing that we can't praise Him enough for it. Praise Him and thank Him, and we ask His help in everything that we seek help in. And we ask His forgiveness from everything we've done wrong, and from all bad decisions we've made. And we seek refuge in Him from the evil within us, from whispers to do more wrong, and from bad deeds we've done, and from the cursed Satan. Whomever Allah, the one true God, guides, is truly the one who's guided. And whomever chooses to reject Him, He leaves to stray. He'll never find for Him a guardian or a guide. And I bear witness that there's nothing worthy of worship, or direction, or submission, except Allah, the Arabic word for the one true God, the Creator and Sustainer. And I bear witness that Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, was His final messenger and prophet, that He sent him as the final prophet after the 124,000 plus prophets sent to earth. He sent him with His truth to light the lives of people, to light the lives of the human family, and to free us, to liberate us all from enslavement to one another, to be servants and enslaved only to the Lord of creation, and from the constraint of believing that all there was to live for was this life, to the vastness and emancipation that comes with knowing that after this transient, short-lived, like a dream when you wake up from it, life is the real life that awaits, the one after we die, the one where eternal bliss and happiness awaits those who choose to do the right things in this life. And from the injustice He guided us, of making decisions based on our own whims and desires, based on what we see is good for us, or for our tribe, or for our own community, disregarding everyone else living in the world today, or disregarding the generations to come. He freed us from that way of thinking, and He guided us to divinely guided decision-making. Decision-making that takes into account the ethical lines, the ethical guidelines, the moral center of divine guidance. So may Allah, the one true God, give Muhammad peace and blessings upon him, the best reward that He's given a prophet and a messenger for his nation. We have a third installment today in a series that we've been talking about, the family, the role of the family in changing nations, in changing the world for the better. And we talked last time about the role of the mother and wife, and the time before it about the role of the husband and father. And today we're talking about the role of the son or daughter, of the children in the family. And so everyone here probably is going to first think, well, the problem is all the children are in school. But as we go through, there's two things that you'll realize. The first is that we're all children of our parents, no matter how old we are. And there's a role you have to play for your parents, no matter how old they are, or if they've passed away. In fact, what you can do for your parents doesn't stop when they die. And you're obligated. And you're losing part of your faith when you don't fulfill those rights of parents. So we're going to take that in for ourselves. And then we're going to take in the job of taking what we hear today together and taking it back to our children that aren't here. And make that a revival of what we talked about last time and the time before. That the father and the mother that are leading the family, one of the primary responsibilities is to make sure that their children understand what it is that they need to do in this life for God. What does that relationship with God look like? And of course, we said last time and the time before that it's first by example. That if a child is told not to eat chocolate late in the day, and he sees his dad eating chocolate 5 times a week late in the day, the facts are, the statistics are that the parents who eat sweets late in the day, their children will eat sweets late in the day, no matter how much they tell them not to. And that the children who aren't even told not to eat sweets late in the day, when they don't see their parents eating sweets late in the day, they won't eat sweets late in the day. This is a fact. It's from the American Dental Association. I wanted to give you a fact that doesn't make everyone feel ashamed about something they're doing, because maybe the repercussions aren't as problematic. But there's so many things we do, and forget that what our children see us do is what they will do. I can tell my son to respect me and to want to talk to me. But if I'm still annoyed when I call my dad after being 37 years old because I know he might judge a couple of the things I'm doing, and I'm avoiding talking to him about something that I know I should talk to him about in the family or about my life, then how can I expect my son, who's younger and less mature than me, to talk to me? That's an example. So we're going to talk about the role of children. And we're going to make an intent together today. The best of us, inshallah, with God's will and help, the best of us will take it upon themselves a project that we're going to deploy this month. And we're going to conclude by the beginning of April. That every family in this community is going to make a family contract with their family. And they will make sure that they have outlined not a detailed 7-page contract of what they're going to owe each other, and husbands and wives, don't get excited because this isn't the time where you're going to write down all the things that your wife does wrong that you don't like and how she's going to stop it. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to choose 1 to 3 things. Make it simple. 1 to 3 things we're going to start doing that we aren't doing, that we know will bring us close to each other and to God. Or 1 thing that we're doing that we need to stop doing. And then we're going to figure out how we can make sure that it includes not just the father and mother, but the children. It's a contract for the entire family. And by the beginning of April, that'll be the best of us. And inshallah, I ask Allah that it's all of us. But the minimum that I'm asking everyone to do is take away 3 things. Our beloved Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, بَلِّغُوا عَنِّي وَلَوْ آيَةً. If you hear an ayah today that you didn't know, if you hear 1 hadith today that you didn't know, or that you knew, because many of us were taught so many of these ayat and hadith. Our parents, of course, when we were young, told us these verses of the Quran and these traditions of the Prophet because they wanted us to respect them. But we may have forgotten. So if you hear something that you're reminded of, or that you didn't know, make sure that you relay it in the kindness and most effective way with your children. And talk with each other about how to relate with your children. It may be tough if that's not something you've been doing as a family. I know. If you come to your kids now and say, let's sit down and have a family meeting, and you've never done that before, they're going to look at you and they're going to mock you. I understand. That may happen. But that's okay. Because part of change is to be vulnerable. It's to be vulnerable with those that you love, and to admit, and to be able to be ready to say that maybe I wasn't doing everything that God loved. And we're going to start today. And to be patient. وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَاصْطَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا لَا نَسْأَلُكَ رِزْقًا نَحْنُ نَرْزُقُكَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, command your family with prayer. And be patient. And He didn't stop there, the verse. The verse is concluded in a very interesting way. لَا نَسْأَلُكَ رِزْقًا نَحْنُ نَرْزُقُكَ. Why is God saying to a man or to a woman, if you're going to command your kids with prayer, and they don't obey you, they don't follow that direction from you, you need to just be patient and kind with them? Why would God say at the end of that, we're not asking you sustenance, we're not asking you rizq, And we're the ones who give you rizq. Why is God saying specifically, at the end of being patient with your family, you don't need to worry about your sustenance, He'll give it to you. The reason is because being patient with your family when it comes to prayer, when it comes to their connection with God, is an investment of time. You can't do it as a check off on your checklist. It's not going to work. It's an investment of time because first, some of the habits we've done, if my kids are neglecting their prayers in the morning or during the day, there's a habit I'm doing that's rubbing off on me. So that's investment of time for me to self-examine. And it's an investment of time to sit down with them and make them want to pray and not just feel like they have to pray. So that investment of time, you won't see any money returned for it. It's not going to be a visit with a patient that's going to give you money. It's not going to be a business meeting that's going to give you a deal. You might lose a little bit of worldly income with that investment of time. But God will give you that income back. لا نسألك رزقا نحن نرزقك والعاقبة للتقوى. And the end result is for the consciousness of God.